What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLB Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster, and we are in Time City once again for the next episode. So when we left off, we actually were beginning to create this amazing ticket booth, and you are watching footage that was from the live stream. Just so you know, if you want to watch these live, again, go follow me on Twitch, link down in the description below. And if you're liking these videos and series, make sure you're leaving a comment, like, and sharing, subscribing, doing everything that you can to support the channel, because it helps me a lot, for sure. But we continue on working on the ticket booth, and we are actually going to duplicate it to the other side of the little entrance plaza here, and it makes it very symmetrical, and that's kind of what this entrance is going to be like. Pretty symmetrical and just beautiful and breathtaking. So this is an exciting episode because we actually get into building the front entrance for the park. So I have no joke here. This time we are actually going to be building the entrance for the park. So that should be very exciting because very soon we'll finally be building inside the park fairly soon. So there's still a lot of parking lot stuff to get done, so by no means is it finished, but I'm going to be working a little bit on that off screen and maybe a couple times throughout some time lapses as well. So the theming very well is a lot of just a lot of windows and glass pretty much throughout these kind of buildings and stuff, and it's very kind of like time travel-ish kind of looking. I would almost say, I don't want to know if I'd say steampunk, but definitely kind of in that regard. So the theme is pretty much, of course, time itself, as we kind of go throughout time. Once we get to the time machine, everything's going to change, like all the theming and everything's going to change once we get to the different areas of the park. This front entrance and the entrance area, because there's going to be a little bit of a main street after the entrance of the park. And that is all going to be remained the same theming as the entrance and everything. And then once we get into the other sections of the park, you know, like the prehistoric section, the Rome/Greek section, the apocalypse section, and also like a sci-fi section. Those are the four themes that we've gone with. Once we get into those, you're going to see a completely different change of theming and architecture and everything like that. That's going to be the really fun thing to do. So there's going to be different sections of the park, of course, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to start with first. And I either want to start with Greek/Rome or the prehistoric. I think I want to start with something like prehistoric, kind of go in order of you know, the timeline. So start off very early, then go into like you know, early with Greek and Roman kind of architecture, and then of course in the apocalypse there's going to be a lot of damaged buildings, destroyed buildings, and that's going to be like a very interesting area of the park, I think, because I get to build buildings that are kind of destroyed, and it's going to be kind of an interesting section of the park because it's a future section and kind of very kind of interesting kind of section. And then of course we have the sci-fi section, which is very far futuristic, and it's going to be a very incredible kind of theme too, and it gets me kind of into the sci-fi range just a little bit, because a lot of people have been wanting me to build like a sci-fi park, and this is going to be kind of like my first steps into it, is making a whole section dedicated to a sci-fi section. So that's going to be cool, and you never know, later down the line that there might be sections being added to the park. So say if I wanted to add a new section to the park later on in its history, that we could very well do that. So but again, I think we're on a very good pace on the park. I'm going to be able to get through it through this year, not being rushed and everything, because again, there's a lot of work that is going to be done. I'm expecting this series, of course, to be probably in the 50 to 70 episode range, maybe even more, who knows. It's going to take a lot of episodes. As you can see, Arrow Valley is only going to be taking about 24 episodes, 25 episodes, which is kind of like my shortest park series that I've ever done. One of the shortest anyways. Definitely shorter than Westwood. Westwood was about 40 episodes, which was pretty good. So as you can see here in the video, we are finally getting to this entrance. It's going to be very tall, very large, and really going to it kind of will have that Disney castle kind of feel, except, you know, completely different themed and everything. Because it is kind of castle-ish. It has this grand, like, big opening for the entrance, and there's going to be diagonal parts on the other side. So you'll see later in the video that we actually have some diagonal sections for the entrance. And it was starting to look really rough at the very beginning, but after time went by, we actually created a very, very awesome kind of entrance. There's going to be, of course, a clock tower and different things like that, because there's a lot of time theming throughout this entrance of the park. Once we get to those other sections, though, you're not going to be seeing a lot of clocks like you are now. There's going to be, of course, the weenie, and I got a really good idea during the stream that I should make the clock tower, the giant clock tower weenie, actually accessible to guests, so where they can walk up into the tower and get some breathtaking views as well. That would be really cool if we had some elevator lifts or something in the game. I think that would be a nice addition, but instead of, we're going to have to, of course, make like a giant staircase of some sorts instead of an elevator, which is kind of sad, because realism-wise, you'd probably have like an elevator of some sorts, and I just might make a visual elevator that is non-functional, and we'll see how that actually turns out. But that's an idea that I have maybe for the future for the weenie, and I thought originally I wasn't going to have it accessible. It was just going to be in the center where you could see it from a distance, and it wasn't actually going to be enterable. But now after thinking about it, I think I might make it to where guests can enter that giant clock tower, because it is going to be huge. It's going to be as big as probably as a castle and stuff, and I'm going to have to make my own clock itself because it's going to be so massive. So, because the in-game ones are too small, and I don't want to use those too much, because I've already been using those quite a bit already, and I don't want that to be a reoccurring theme throughout here. So, but as you can see, it is very slow coming into the entrance, and there's still there's so much detailing to do with it that it just kind of took some time. And of course, I am that slow builder, and criticize me on that if you want, but it's just how I operate sometimes, and that's kind of why I like to put together these time lapses, because some people, of course, like to watch it real time, and other people don't like to sit here for hours upon hours watching footage. They would rather just, you know, watch a time lapse of a video of me putting together these sort of things. So I've gotten requests to do that on my Silver City recreation and stuff as well, instead of doing the real time. So the way I'm thinking about doing it is I will live stream stuff on Twitch, and if you want to watch the real-time stuff on that, you can go over to Twitch, and if you want to watch it time-lapsed version, it will be on YouTube. So again, I'm not going full Twitch on all my live streams. There will be still be live streams on YouTube. A lot of people have wondered about that. I haven't live streamed on YouTube in quite a while. That's because I haven't done any of the live YouTube series just yet, you know, which is Golden Valley will still remain on YouTube as a live stream, and also Arrow Valley will finish on YouTube live stream as well. But a lot of stuff like Time City and just like general random stuff that I do will be on Twitch, because I do stream like random stuff on Twitch. It's where I'm able to just kind of let my imagination roam free and just stream upon hours and stuff. I like doing that now. I think it's going to keep me busy, because I like to have multiple projects going on at once. And as you know, I'm going to go down to just Time City as my main project, and then of course still Golden Valley and Silver City will be off to the side as well. So we're going to have technically those three projects, but Golden Valley is one of those projects that just kind of never ends. So I want people to keep that in mind, that I'm not just adding, I'm still going to, you know, you have more than one main project. No, I still have just the one main project, which is Time City, and Golden Valley is a story park. It's a completely different thing. So, and then of course I have a recreation series going on as well. Those are like the three main things I like to have going on at once, and no other main differences as well. So I'm also going to be looking and having a live stream for Celebration City as well. I do need to get work on that park, because I am starting to fall behind on that. I only have this next month to do that. So you might see maybe a little bit less of Time City just for a little bit to finish up parks like that and everything. So, but we still have a lot of time left. We still have almost a full month, just under a month left before I go back to work full time. And just because of that doesn't mean I don't have to have everything done right away. I want everything kind of done before maybe March, maybe April, and May at the very latest, because I don't want my parks opening after May. So that's the absolute latest I want it to open, because I think Westwood opened on May 1st of 2017, and Arrow Valley is set to open most likely around March. Actually, it's going to have an earlier opening date than Westwood, because it's going to be one of those that are just kind of, has a longer season, because there's a lot of parks that do open up in March in the spring. Some open up in April, and then a lot of them will open up in May, just depending on their location. Sometimes it just depends on because the weather can be changed and everything. So with this clock tower entrance and everything, the point of this is that we're going to have one of those bells at the top as well. I thought it'd be kind of a nice little addition to this little part of the entrance. And there's, again, I still, even after this video, we still have a lot of work to do on the entrance and everything. So there's still a lot to do in the entrance area, on the entrance itself, and hopefully we get more and more of that completed throughout time and each episode. So I'm hoping to complete up, finish up the entrance in the next episode. We'll see exactly how far we get, but I think I'll have enough time to where I can actually finish the entrance up itself. So, but anyways, I hope it turns out the way I'm hoping. I have an envision, and it actually is very breathtaking to this point, and I'm very excited for it. So you'll see very, very soon what I mean by all that. So. Yeah, so there's just so much that is going to be going into this park that is going to be incredible, and I hope you guys are just as excited as I am for this series to go through. So I'm going to try and do a very timely manner of when I do start up work. I do want to try and get a certain kind of schedule going for me to where I can still get plenty of videos out and still plenty of live streams going. And it's very difficult for me because, I'll have some pretty decent hours when I start back up work, because the park that I work at opens at 10. We'll start up opening at 10 in the morning, and we work until 6 o'clock at night. So I usually get home at around 7-ish. But being that I'm working at a new ride, I'm probably going to be later than that. So, but anyways, we'll see how all that turns out, because, there's always a line at the end of the day, especially opening day, opening weekend. Opening weekend's going to be a crazy part. My park that I work at actually opens on a Wednesday, so that's going to be kind of an interesting thing. So we'll see if it's super busy. I know it's going to be super, super busy that first weekend, and yeah, so we'll see exactly how all that turns out. So as you can see, I did do a lot of more detailing in the bell section area, and I thought it turned out pretty neat. I still might add more into the future, but as of right now, it looks pretty decent. And as you can see, a lot of glass and windows kind of going into where the clock towers are. I just love the look of that, and I'm trying to create more differences between the different towers throughout the entrance area and everything by adding a couple different details on them, like the little black lines and everything, the little trims on the windows. I thought that was a good idea to try and make them look a little bit different, and I might still add a little bit more to change that up just a little bit as well. So you're seeing a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that go into it, and there's just so much that still needs to be done. So I'm hoping that it finishes off pretty nicely. And you see, I do have put the Time City kind of up there on the top with some designs, and it's just some pretty looking little things that I think will work well. So that's kind of like the entrance sign of the park, which will work pretty nicely, because you look up there and you just see Time City, and it's it's going to be a very grand kind of entrance, very large entrance. This is a very high budgeted park, so it's going to be on a very large scale, and that's why I'm committing a lot of episodes and a lot of time to work on this. Again, because there's just so much to do, and it's a very highly detailed park, but at the same time, it is going to take a long time. It's a very highly detailed and also very large park at the same time, so that is going to be the interesting thing. Now, I do want to, again, I'm thinking about adding some more parking to it, just because it's going to be so large, but again, I don't want that to take up so much space, so I'm holding off on that to see if I'm going to need to use that space for extra parts of the park, but we'll see exactly how that works out, because I still have a lot of space left in the world, so I don't want anyone getting worried that I took too much space up in the parking lot and everything. As you can see, there's still a lot of space behind this entrance, and we're going to be using probably as much as possible throughout it. And I also want to mess a little bit with terrain and everything throughout the park as well. Make it very advanced, so it's not going to necessarily be a very steep hills kind of park, but it's definitely going to have it's definitely going to have a lot of different spots that aren't super completely flat, because that you don't see that in like every park. Not every park is very, very super flat. Very rarely will you see one that is completely on just ridiculously flat land. There's different sections, that do have a little bit of an incline and different stuff like that. So that's going to be the idea, that we're going to try and keep that the way that is going to go. So that's what we want to do. So right here for the entrance, there's going to be a huge entrance plaza right after the entrance, very large, and this park's going to have very large amount of pathways. It's going to have wide pathways because it's expecting to bring in very large crowds, and we're going to have very wide pathways and everything like that. I just accidentally unplugged my headset, so everything kind of went weird right there for a second. So anyways, I decided to put like these flags on top of these towers as well. They're gonna have like custom images with, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna put on them just yet, but for right now I just put the Time City logo as a placeholder. And again, I like doing I do a lot of placeholders on some of these textures that are going to be different in the future. So I will, once of course it is posted to the Steam Workshop in about a year or so, I am going to make these images downloadable so you can have all those textures within the game. And I'm also going to be putting in some really neat music as well that will also be available in there at the same time. So we're going to be putting a lot of different music throughout the park as well, depending on what section you're in. And I want to make it sure that it feels like you're in a really nice theme park. That is going to be the goal with this park. It's just going to be heavily themed, and you're just going to love every single bit about it. And you guys still have no idea what is coming in this park in the future. A lot of people thought the hype was too much so far, and again, we are not. We're in the very raw sections of the park still. The park is very raw. It's not detailed yet. I mean, the parking lot even is not detailed yet. So there's still so much left to do, and what we have already done. It's in a very raw state still. There's not really any finished parts yet in the park itself. And, if I was working at the pace now where everything was completed to this point, I could probably finish this park a lot faster. But no, there's still so much to do. And I do plan on trying to complete each section as much as possible before I move on to the next section. But, of course, it doesn't mean we won't be coming back. So now we get into a little bit of the diagonal section of the entrance. So it's going to be a little slanted. That way, it just makes it really kind of realistic, and it gives it that little realistic feel to it, that it's not just straight, it's super symmetrical. It's symmetrical, but it's not like you can tell it's not part of a grid kind of feel to it. So, and the entrance, of course, is very symmetrical anyways, but I wanted to add that little bit of difference to it. So there's going to be a total of 9 gates for the entrances, 3 on the middle and 3 off to the sides on both sides. So I'm going to be building this side diagonal building, and we're going to be copying it to the other side as well, and using it as the other side. So there's going to be a total of 9 different gates, and I might decorate those up a little bit to look a little different, because I don't want it to look like it's from Planet Coaster. So we might kind of disguise those gates into something different, which I have yet to do in this episode. And these side ones aren't going to be as large or as grand as, of course, the front entrance. They're going to be a little different. I still want to put some columns in the inside, which I haven't done yet in this episode, but there's still, again, quite a bit to go on. left to do here. So just stay patient with me as we do try and get through this and build it. So you'll be seeing soon enough what I mean of how this is going to be going into effect. So there's going to be a really nice big entrance plaza for the park, and it's going to lead up to kind of this main street, which will lead into the time machine, aka the monorail, which will travel guests through time into the new different sections of the park. So you know, you can go. I want to be able to decorate the monorail to make it look a little more like a time machine. It's gonna have probably like a very gold color scheme to it and stuff, so be on the lookout for that. And I've had the idea of possibly making the monorail kind of indoors, so you have all these really cool special effects on the inside, almost like a dark ride in a sense. So it's not going to necessarily be on the outside. I've also thrown around the idea kind of like, you know, the Hogwarts Express at Universal and everything, because those have projected windows where it actually, you're looking outside, but it's actually a video kind of, it's like projection, and it's actually different. So that's kind of an interesting thing as well, concept as well, but you can't do that like actually inside the game, but it's definitely a cool concept that I would love to see possibly maybe in post-production do some really trickery kind of stuff to make it look like that there is a projection on that window or something, to make it look like you're traveling through time and space on the outside. So it looks like you're in space and you see the stars flying by. But I've also had the idea of doing of course, in the inside, do it indoors and just make those effects around the ride itself. So I actually practiced that a little bit, had a little bit of success, but there were still a couple of hiccups that, down the line, but we'll see exactly how that turns out as well. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this series as much as I have. It's a lot of fun to go in and build these different structures and this park in general, and I'm very excited to see down the line what this is going to be. And just for the record, I will be planning on posting a video really soon, probably in the next day or two, or very soon, of an update on when the last episode of Arrow Valley will be, so you guys can be there for it live on YouTube. So it's going to be live streamed on YouTube, so if you want to see the last episode of Arrow Valley, be sure to check that video, keep an eye out on the channel, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you have your notifications on, so click that bell if you want to, because you won't want to miss that last episode of Arrow Valley, because it's probably going to be a longer episode where we completely just finish the park up, and we'll see how all that turns out. Still lots to go. So I also, in Time City here, I do want to try and do a lot of backstage areas. So the different backstage areas we're going to have, I want to make sure there's like an employee parking lot, so that's going to be kind of a smaller lot. Just those little backstage areas, you know, where we'll have break rooms and different supply closets for like bathrooms and stuff. You're going to be seeing a lot of different stuff like that throughout this park, and I'm very excited that we're finally going to be getting into the park very soon, and that's going to be something that is going to be really good. So I'm excited for that. I hope you guys are excited too, and I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel so much. We're actually have gotten quite a few subscribers lately, throughout the last couple days, because I did hit 4,000 a couple days ago, not too long ago, and we're already to 4,030 as this video has been uploaded, so that's kind of a neat thing as well. And yeah, so we'll be hopefully getting to that 5,000 sooner rather than later. So I'm very grateful for everyone that has subscribed. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and be sure to comment, like, and subscribe for more amazing content as well as down below. So there's no I'm not going to put a real-time section in this episode, just a matter of fact that we didn't really work on much, and you can see pretty much most of it there, but I will put a screenshot of the entrance at the end of the video. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks and goodbye.